hello, welcome back to the channel. It's me, Emmy the Cat Lady, and you join me. We're back here in the Capital Wasteland. We are at Roosevelt Academy, so it's over towards the kind of west of the map here. So just south of Faded Pomp Estates, which is further south from the WKML broadcast station, and to the kind of northwest of Northwest Seneca station. That's where this place is located, and you can probably tell from the spikes and the barriers set up that, like a lot of places in Fallout 3, it is Hochum with super mutants. There's one. But I thought this would be quite an interesting location to visit. So it's a high school, a pre-war high school that served the DC area. It was a private school. Aim is terrible today, apparently. There we go. And there's 3 different buildings, and there's also underground tunnels that connect the buildings, and it is full of super mutants. There is centaurs as well, and there's also a couple of captives. So one of the things that the Capital Wasteland super mutants do is that they kidnap people to bring them back to Vault 87, so that when they find more of the green stuff, they can make more of themselves. That's basically their only goal in life. The place is pretty wrecked, but there is a few buildings that we can go into, all 3 of the buildings, and we can have a look around. So, see if we can find the one that we want to start with. Yeah, this is the one here. So this is the main academy building. Yeah. Dead settler. And the switchblade, probably not going to do much good against super mutants, but there we are. So yeah, this is a location, and there's quite a few things to find in here. There's a protectron that you can activate called Dean Dewey, presumably named after the Dewey Decimal System that organises libraries and stuff. I'm sure most of us are kind of familiar with that. And then this is the nurse's office as well. We've got administration over here. Guessing this is the new principal. There it is. There's Dean Dewey in there. So there is a terminal, I think, in the office that can activate him, and he will attack you if you don't have a hall pass, unless you have Robotics Expert or the Child at Heart perk, or if you have a low intelligence. It's one of the few kind of low intelligence interactions in this game. He will take you to the special ed class, which is kind of mean but also kind of funny. But there is a pre-war book here in the principal's office as well. And there's also some skill books, so it's one of the things that we have been finding quite a lot of in this game. So if we go into the men's room near the office, it's in one of the cubicles, I think. I'm pretty sure I just heard a rad roach. Ah, there we go. Pugilism Illustrated. Next to the Dead Raider. There we go. And somebody's been blowing up some toilets with cherry bombs. Which is a cheeky little reference. Yeah, so the pre-war book in the headmaster's office, and the nurse's office does also have a DC Journal of Internal Medicine. You know, fitting. Where exactly it is. But yeah, medical supplies and all the surgical tubing and whatnot, blood packs, which is really, that's quite a lot for, you know, a school nurse's office to have, you know, blood products and all that kind of stuff. But it's here, and here's DC Journal of Internal Medicine next to this typewriter. So yeah, that's the interesting stuff on the floor. I'm not sure about the terminal. I don't think there's really anything significant on it, but we'll double check. Yeah, it just unlocks the safe. So yeah, there's not really any interesting terminal entries on in this place, but we can have a wander around the school. You know, we've got rows of lockers. You can hear the stompy feet of the super mutants. There is also several places where there's gas leaks, so be careful when you're fighting the super mutants. That you don't blow yourself up as well. But you will find some other, you know, bits of loot dotted about in places. Blood trail. Yeah, they've been feeding their ad roaches dead settlers, which is lovely. And this takes us back out to the other side. Okay. So.
Oh, well. I was hoping for a fight.
Well, you're not getting one. So yeah, we can head down here to the maintenance and evacuation tunnel. Where we can get an idea of what happened with all these little skeletons. And there's a grenade bouquet, which I've just set off. Still spooked me, even though I knew it was coming. Yeah. So we've got these little skeletons down here. Unfortunately. But there is some other useful bits and pieces to be found in here, and we've obviously got a bunch of these guys to get rid of. But these tunnels do connect to all the other buildings, so you can actually get to them all without. Yeah, but watch out for gas leaks. Literally said, oh yeah, there's gas leaks, so be careful, and then just did that. There's another gas leak in this section. But yeah, so you can find your way to all the different buildings. So let's go. Easy lock. This should probably be an easy lock, hopefully. Ah. There we go. I mean, it was probably slightly overkill for, you know, a rad roach, but who cares? Okay. Roosevelt Library. More skeletons, and I can hear the stompy feet of super mutant. There's also a blood pack in the toilet, but there's a stealth boy in here, so you know that's a nice bonus. And then yeah, we've got this guy. So the minigun wielding super mutant that's in here has the key, and if you're high level, he will be an overlord. So right. Convenient. He's just fell down, so I can loot the key. And again, there's lots of bits and pieces. We've got, you know, another stealth boy. There's quantum ammo boxes, first aid boxes, all that kind of stuff. Yeah, that was the two stealth boys. So yeah, there's one on the desk here and there's one in the ladies' men's room. Um, and you can also get the key from that super mutant, which lets you open the main door outside. Other than that, you know, just the usual kind of loot. The building is kind of half collapsed, because presumably they would have had either a floor here or something, because this is extremely not safe for children. But yeah, no skill books in the library, which kind of feels wrong in a way, but you know, two stealth boys is nice. Stealth boys are not always the easiest things to find. They do come in quite handy. But now we've got the key for the main door. And then we've got the final building, which is the Arts and Athletics Hall. And this one's quite fun, actually. There's some interesting things to see in here. So, find the door. There we go. Okay. Yeah, so there's a kind of reception sort of desk here. Got some rad roaches scuttling about. More blood packs. There is an awful lot of blood packs for this, considering it's a school and not a hospital, but... Oh, missed. Yep. Here we go. So yeah, this guy's apparently putting on his own little show. Had quite an abrupt ending, but never mind. So yeah, this is quite fun. So this obviously would be the theatre, where they would have put on school plays and whatever else. And the fun thing is that we've got this little, you know, scenery set up, and it just looks like, you know, some of the ruined buildings outside, but they've obviously shrunk it down to make it kid-sized and fit on the stage, which is really fun. And there's a few things that you can find in here. Firstly, I spotted it here, there's a sheet music book next to the music stands. Again, that kind of makes sense, that's the kind of place you'd expect to find them, but if you are collecting them for Agatha, this is where you can find one of them. And then there's a room behind the stage. Sorry, Three Dog. So yeah, you've got all sorts of random bits and pieces that you might find useful, but there is a pre-war book in one of these rooms. Somewhere. There it is. And yeah, you've got railway spikes, you've got all sorts of random bits and pieces of loot. And then finally there is a Tumblers Today, but it's up on the 3rd floor, so need to find a way. I always forget the Tesla cannon does damage over time as well, so... So it is on the 3rd floor in a room next to the locker room. This looks like a locker room. Hi. Bye. Oh, quite a good collection of ammo up here and stuff as well. There it is. Yeah, so we've got this little room here, there's ammo boxes and stuff, and then we've got Tumblers Today. So, yeah, again, it's another one of these locations that you have no reason to come here other than just you stumble across it and decide to take a look, but quite a few interesting little bits and pieces. I say there's lots of ammo, medical supplies, quite a lot of blood packs, which is surprising for a school. You know, I'd expect to see a lot of them in the hospitals, but you know, you can make good money off of them with the family and all the rest of it. And the other kind of fun detail, which I'm sure some of you guys know this, so Eddie from Fallout New Vegas does have a bumper sticker which says that it says my child is an honours student at Roosevelt Academy, which is kind of a fun little connection. So you do see that until you do the quest and get Eddie kind of upgraded, in which case, you know, they take all the bumper stickers and stuff off. But it does kind of suggest that Eddie actually did travel from Adams Air Force Base, you know, where the Enclave are based, and headed all the way over there. And then there's also a fun little place nearby that I wanted to have a look at. So we want to head to the east of here, following the railway track. So we'll go down into the square here. Quad square, I'm not sure what you would call this little kind of location, like a courtyard. But yeah, so we want to follow the railway to the east, which is that there, until we find a red train car that's collapsed. Because there is a unique raider that's here, called the Wanderer. Okay, I finally found the location. So yeah, you want to kind of come along where the railway line goes past, and then there's this kind of pile of cars and a bus, and then you can see the train car collapsed, and then follow it around here, and there's this funny little wooden platform with a mattress on it and stuff. And this camp belongs to a unique raider who... Where did it go? I did find them a minute ago. Over here somewhere. Goes by the name A Wanderer. There he is. It does have 3 guard dogs with him. There is also a couple of Yagwai in this area. So yeah, this guy's a unique raider. He will always be hostile to you, so don't worry about that. But it does have some interesting bits and pieces on him, and the main thing that we're interested in is that he does have a unique set of armour. So he's also drops a finger, he's a bad guy, but he has the Wanderer's leather armour, which is basically the same as your standard leather armour. It looks the same, but it has +10 to small guns, which is a nice little bonus. And the camp is also kind of the location for kind of a rare item, which is the dog bowl. So there's actually, I think there should be 3, because he does have 3 dogs, although I don't know where the dogs have gone, but they're supposed to be with him as well. Maybe the Yagwai ate them, I don't know. You know, that happens. There's his little camp. So yeah, it's very well hidden. It took me a minute to find it, even with, you know, written directions that I had. I still struggled. But yes, you've got your dog bowls. There's also some, you know, random food items, ammo boxes. I think he's got a pre-war book there as well on his mattress, and that looks like noodles. Yep, noodles. He's got whiskey, purified water, or dirty water, ammo. Yeah, kind of a useful little thing, but the unique armour's pretty cool as well. So, and again, it's one of these things, it's not easy to find, but you could just happen to stumble across him, and take him out and get the armour. There is also a red scorpion hanging around, which we don't like. But the bears can stay, because the bears are friends. But yeah, so quite an interesting little location. It's one of the few places as well where you do see the small kind of child-sized skeletons, which is obviously quite sad, but brings home the reality of what's happened to this world, you know, that thousands and thousands and millions of people are dead, and a lot of them would be children. Presumably those tunnels were supposed to be for evacuation, and maybe they went down there and they hid and then didn't make it because they were scared to leave when the bombs fell, all that kind of thing. But it's got the fun little set on the stage as well, which kind of reflects how the streets look and outside of that, but it's been shrunk down, and a few other useful little items that you're collecting. The pre-war books and the blood packs and things. You make a lot of money from collecting them, potentially, if you're friends with the right sorts of people, so quite a useful source of income if you're looking to make a wee bit of cash in this game. That could be quite a helpful thing to do, and unique piece of armor as well, which is always a nice little find. So hopefully you guys enjoyed that. I say I'm going to continue in Fallout 3 because there's so many locations in this game that are worth exploring and worth your time, so I think it'd be good to share all of them with you. I do see a Deathclaw wandering about in the background there, but it's quite far away, so I'm not too worried about it. But yeah, so hopefully you enjoyed that. As always, I do love to hear your thoughts in the comments. Don't forget to subscribe if you want to see more. I upload twice a week. And this Thursday, the video essay about morality in gaming should be live. It's taken me a lot longer than intended with one thing and another, but it's done. So it should be ready to go. And then on Saturday, we're going to be talking about the water supplies in Fallout 4 and how it differs from the other locations that we visited in the game. So hopefully you'll come back for that. And I will catch you guys then. Bye.